Hi everyone! You knew that even the nicest lakes with clear water sometimes hide a big threat to holidaymakers. Thousands of deaths, mysterious inhabitants, poisonous waters. You already frightened? If not, beware. In today's video, we're going to tell you about the most terrible lakes in the world. Let's go! Nios, Cameroon. Lake Nios can be called a mass murderer. It became known to the whole world because of the terrible event that took place on August 21, 1985. A cloud of suffocating gas rose from the lake, and 1,746 inhabitants of neighboring villages became its victims. Together with people, all livestock, birds and even insects perished. Scientists arrive at the site of the tragedy and establish that the lake is situated in the crater of a volcano. Carbon dioxide came through the bottom cracks into the water. The gas accumulated the limiting concentration and began to break out onto the surface with huge bubbles. The wind carried a cloud of gas to the settlements, where it destroyed all life. Scientists say that carbon dioxide continues to flow into the lake, and one can expect another release. Natron in Tanzania. Lake Natron in Tanzania doesn't just kill its inhabitants, but also mummifies their bodies. On the shores of the lake, you can find mummified flamingos, small birds, and even bats. The most terrible thing is that the victims are frozen in their natural poses with their heads raised, as if frozen for a moment and so remained forever. The water in the lake is bright red due to microorganisms living in it. Closer to the shore, it's orange, and in some places it has a normal color. Lake's evaporation scares large predators, and the absence of natural enemies attracts a huge number of birds and small animals. They live on the shore of Natron, multiply, and after death, mummify. A large amount of hydrogen contained in the water and increased alkalinity contribute to the liberation of soda, salt, and lime. They don't allow the remains of the lake's inhabitants to decay. Brosno, Russia. Not so far from Moscow, in the Tver region, there's Lake Brosno. According to local residents, there lives an ancient pangolin, like the famous Loch Ness Monster, which has become world famous. As in the case of the inhabitants of the Scottish lake, the monster of Brosno was often seen, but no one could make a single clear shot. Studies of the reservoir didn't make anything more clear. Scientists suggest that the origin of legends about the ancient monster was the unusually large depth of the lake and the processes of decomposition on the bottom, which sometimes led to the formation of huge bubbles of hydrogen sulfide. The escaped gas is able to easily turn a small boat that can be taken for a monster's attacking. Dead Lake, Kazakhstan. The lake with a terrible name is situated in Kazakhstan. Local residents have long been trying to bypass it, considering it a damned dam. Anyone here will tell you some terrible stories about the mysterious disappearance of people, and not even necessarily in the lake itself. According to locals, there's an infinite number of drowned people at the bottom, and all of them are missing tourists who didn't know anything about the bad glory of the dead lake. By the way, this name doesn't come from mysterious disappearances, but from the unusual properties of the water. There's no life in the lake, no fish, no frogs, nothing. The Lake of Death, Italy. We know about Sicily thanks to the famous mafia and the volcano Etna that's situated on the island, but there's another, not less dangerous attraction, the Lake of Death. The water there contains a large concentration of sulfuric acid. Life there is impossible. Any organism that gets into the local water dies in a few minutes. According to rumors, the Italian mafia used this lake to destroy the unwanted. True or not, no one can say. The water has dissolved all the evidence. Michigan, USA. Lake Michigan is one of the 5 Great Lakes scattered across the US and Canada. Few know that this lake destroyed hundreds of lives. There's no ancient monster, the water isn't dead, but nevertheless, the lake is very dangerous. It's all about unpredictable undercurrents. It's a huge risk for tourists. If a person has got into such a current, then it's almost impossible to cope with it. In the autumn, it becomes especially dangerous. Because of the spontaneously arising currents on the surface of the water, huge waves emerge, and in addition, the tourist seafarers also suffer. Boiling Lake, Dominica. This lake is called boiling because it literally boils. The water temperature reaches 92 degrees Celsius. If you swim in such water, you can easily be boiled alive. The surface is shrouded in thick white steam, and swimming in this lake is strictly prohibited, even in the rainy season when the temperature decreases. From under the water, the jets of hot air, or even lava, still beat periodically, so swimming in such a lake can be your last. The lake is located on the volcano crater and is constantly heated. Karachay, Russia. Lake Karachay in the Urals is considered one of the most polluted in the world. Staying on the lake for a couple of hours is enough to get radiation in hundreds of X-rays and die an excruciating death. Once a living lake was destroyed in the 50s when it was used as a storehouse for liquid radioactive waste. Now the water level has fallen sharply, revealing the huge contaminated areas of the lake. The state annually invests a lot of money for the decrease of the level of radiation in the reservoir. There's a plan to cover it completely in the coming years, but this doesn't solve the problem of contamination of groundwater. Have you ever been to such terrible places? Write about it in the comments, and don't forget about the likes.